Hi everybody, we are going to do combustion reactions. It's our fifth and final type of reaction that we have left to go over, and I thought that predicting the products for these is really simple. It's always going to be the same thing. The only hard part about combustion reactions is that we have to balance them. So balancing combustion reactions is really where this is going to be the tricky part. So before we look at combustion reactions, I just want to kind of go through what a combustion reaction is and then what it will always produce. In a combustion reaction, what happens is you have something called a hydrocarbon. So you're probably like, oh my gosh, what's a hydrocarbon? A hydrocarbon is just a compound that contains carbon and hydrogen. Hence the word hydrogen, carbon, hydrocarbon. So just some compound with C and H is a hydrocarbon. Sometimes you may also have a carbohydrate. So that's going to be a CH and an O compound. So it could be either one of those. So combustion will happen when you have a hydrocarbon reacting with oxygen, and you're going to produce every single time carbon dioxide, which we know is CO2, and water, which we know is H2O. So let's look at some examples of combustion reactions. So on the board, you'll see that you have three different reactions here. And I know that these are combustion reactions because here's a hydrocarbon. I have a carbon and a hydrogen compound that's reacting with oxygen. So a hydrocarbon plus oxygen, immediately that tells you this is a combustion reaction. Now, always in a combustion reaction, we will produce carbon dioxide and water. So I'm going to write CO2 plus H2O. Oh my gosh, it's that simple. But now I have to balance it. So if I look at this, I have one carbon on each side, but I have 4 hydrogens here and only 2 hydrogens here. So that means I'm going to have to add a 2 in front of this. So now carbons are balanced, hydrogens are balanced, but are oxygen balanced? No. I have 2 here, plus another 2 is 4, but I only have 2 on this side, so I need a 2 right there. So this is my balanced combustion reaction. It is this easy. So now let's do the second one. I have a hydrocarbon, because it's carbon and hydrogen, plus oxygen, has to be combustion. I will always produce what 2 products? Carbon dioxide, so I have CO2, and water. Okay, then you're going to have to balance that one. So try to take some time right now to balance that one, because this one is a little trickier. So let's try to take some time to balance this one. Okay, if you balanced it correctly, you should get 2, 7, 4, and 6. That gives you 4 carbons on this side. You have 4 on this side. You have 12 hydrogens. And then I have 14 oxygens over here. I have 8 here, plus another 6 will give me 14. So that one's a trickier one to balance. So writing the products for a combustion reaction is always really simple because it's always carbon dioxide and water. The tricky part about these is just balancing. That's really it. So let's try this third one. We have C3H8, which is propane. So propane, which is a hydrocarbon, is reacting with oxygen. It's a combustion reaction because I have hydrocarbon and oxygen. So I'm always going to produce what 2 things? CO2 and H2O. So now if I wanted to balance this one, I have 3 carbon here, put a 3 here. My carbons are balanced. I have 8 hydrogens over here. If I add a 4 here, that gives me 8 hydrogens. Now I have 6 oxygens plus another 4 on the product side. So I need 10 oxygens over here. So to get 10, I would multiply that by 5. Okay, let's just do 2 more, and that's because we did these with hydrocarbons, but I want to look to see what we would do if you had something called a carbohydrate. So this would be a carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen compound plus oxygen is going to still be a combustion reaction. So you can have a hydrocarbon reacting with oxygen, or you could have what we would call a carbohydrate reacting with oxygen. So in this case, if it's combustion, what are my products going to be in both of these? Carbon dioxide and water. So we'll just go ahead and write that for both. So now the only thing that I have to do on both of these is balance. So I have one carbon on this side, one on the product side. I have 4 H's. Be careful on those. I have 3 here and an extra one here, so I have 4. But I only have 2 on the product side, so I'm going to have to write a 2 in front of the water. That gives me 4 hydrogens, 4 hydrogens. Now I have how many oxygens? What am I going to do here? So now I have 2 plus 1 here, that's 3. But now I have 2 plus 2 there, that's 4. So is this balanced? We should be saying, no, it's not balanced. So now, let's start over. Okay, so let's try to balance it again. You take time, try to balance it.